So before we went on the news update at 1, we were looking at the question is political accountability for federal and state government alone. And I tried to say something that sounded more like this, that we have been channeling all our energies while calling for accountability to the wrong quarters. Maybe yes, maybe not. For so long, our attention had been focused on the federal and state government. And what about the local government representatives that we have? I also mentioned that the relative roles of the three tiers of government in public service delivery has emerged as one of the most important topics of open and vigorous debates in the new democratic climate in Nigeria. And there have been increasing calls for accountability, mostly focused on the federal and state government. But what about those closer to us? Now, I asked 3 questions. Question number 1 was whether or not we are even in touch with our local government representatives to start with. And then, to question number 2, have they kept to their campaign promises? And finally, question number 3 was how often do they visit their constituencies? Towards the end of the conversation, I put a twist to it and I said, okay, let's be more practical now. How many of you even know your local government chairman? How many of you know your ward councillors? How many of you know the senators representing your senatorial district? How many of you know those representing you in the House of Assembly and those representing you in the Senate? And yeah, I think the last caller before we went on a break for the news updated 1 mentioned all the names of all his representatives. And one question I forgot to ask was whether or not he has met with any of these people face to face, or he knows them, or after the election, did he ever get to see them? Did they ever come back to the constituency to say thank you, or to even ask, okay, what are the peculiar challenges of this area and how can we address them together? You know how they say putting heads together to bring about betterment in the society, starting with our immediate environment. I didn't get to read some of your WhatsApp messages, so I'm going to read them quickly. Someone says, accountability is different from project, that one of your caller was calling to say. Accountability is how much have you received in a month? Can you show us where the money went to? How much did you use for salary, project, etc.? How much is IGR, internal generated revenue, etc.? LS for well, as much as that is part of it, it's not only accountability. As much as you want to know how much did you do this, how much did you do that, holding our leaders accountable goes beyond knowing how much was generated as revenue. It goes into showing them their responsibilities or expecting them to do that which they are expected to do. This is your responsibility. How well have they fared in carrying out their responsibility? How well have they fared in keeping us safe? How well have they fared in providing basic amenities? And yes, we can move on to say, oh, XYZ allocation got to you. How well have you used this allocation? What exactly have you used the allocation for? I remember sometime people from Bayelsa State were laughing at a certain bridge. Yes, a bridge. I'm trying to remember the local government in Bayelsa State. A certain bridge that they said was constructed, and the bridge didn't look like anything. They said XYZ amount of money was allocated for that bridge, millions of naira. And eventually what we saw was a bridge made with planks. And we all were laughing. I think it was, what's her name? Hilda Dokobo that posted a picture on Twitter at the time to show us that particular bridge. And one will begin to ask, I think the first question we should ask, I don't think at that point we were focused on the federal government. No, I don't think at that time we were concerned with the state government. I think at that time we wanted to know who was the local government chairman of that local government. Who was the person that indeed carried out that project? If it was the council or whoever that did that project and claimed that it was XYZ amount of money. Because yes, was the bridge a necessity? Yes, it was a necessity. Were there monies allocated for the bridge? Yes, there was. Then the bridge came out and that was what we saw. All right? So it goes beyond just saying how much is allocation for this and how much is there. No. That's just one end of accountability. What about their responsibility? What about the basic role of the local government, as it were, to provide healthcare, to provide basic amenities, good roads, housing, and several other things? A message here says, good day, Didi. Thank you for bringing this topic on the floor of the Rivers people. Most of the elected officials representing us are nowhere to be found. They are not accessible. Call them on phone, you can't get them. Immediately they take oath of office, they change their phone number. Some of the legislators were given constituency projects but failed to execute the projects. The action of some legislators in the local government and state is embezzlement in the name of constituency projects. Owanate, Clinton West, send it in. Thank you so much, Owanate.